imprevisibilidade suprema entre Hamburgo e Karlsruhe. Se há pouco era o Karlsruhe que estava na frente, agora é o Hamburgo que, se Daniel Fernandes defender, é o herói e faz com que a sua equipa siga para as meias finais. Sonha-se. Parte Sonha-se. De bola no poste. E o Hamburgo está nas meias finais da Taça da Alemanha. Dois penaltis nesta bola e foi de como está em ebulição o estádio do Hamburgo. Obviamente a festa de uns é a desilusão de outros, nada a fazer, e vamos tentar perceber. A bola vai ao poste, acertou o lado, é certo, mas vai ao poste o penalti de Sonha-se, e foi desta forma que o Hamburgo garantiu que chega às meias finais da Taça da Alemanha. Daniel Fernandes foi o herói da equipa da casa. Aqui vemos o treinador Tim Walter a abraçar-se ao guarda-redes português. Foi um prazer levar até si mais um jogo totalmente impróprio para cardíacos da Taça da Alemanha. Já sabe, é uma competição para acompanhar no seu canal de desporto. Agradecemos a todos os espectadores que entraram em contato connosco através da hashtag Futebol na Sport TV. Ficamos por aqui. Já sabe, a Taça da Alemanha é para acompanhar no seu canal de desporto, é para acompanhar na Sport TV.
Taça de Inglaterra. O Liverpool na corrida por um troféu que conquistou pela última vez há 16 anos. Na quinta eliminatória, os Reds têm jogo de primeira. Em direto de Anfield, o desafio que opõe a equipa de Salah e Diogo Jota ao Norwich. Esta transmissão é patrocinada por
Bewin, a tua emoção.
Meia final da Taça do Rei na Sport TV. Valência Atlético de Bilbao. A equipa de Thierry Correia, Hélder Costa e Gonçalo Guedes em casa no jogo que vai resolver a eliminatória. Depois do empate da primeira mão, tudo em aberto na noite do Mestalha.
A Taça de Portugal Placar tem clássico nas meias finais. Sporting, Futebol Clube do Porto. Entre Leões e Dragões, quem chegará ao Jamor? A discussão começa em Alvalade com transmissão direta Sport TV. Esta transmissão é patrocinada por Placar, patrocinador principal da Taça de Portugal.
Arrepiar-te. Vais surpreender-te. Vais admirar-te. Vais emocionar-te com o regresso do MotoGP. Vamos ver. As melhores competições motorizadas por apenas 4,99 €. Até já na tua box.
Chiama quase Juliette, né? ऑडियो मिल जाता अच्छा रहेगा। क्रिकेट का मजा आएगा, क्रिकेट में ज्यादा तो देख लेते हैं ना।
Well, it's just a sign of what Matthias Norman can do. He's skip away from the Liverpool player. It's a nice ball. Shento was offside. It's well crafted. You see the guy in that Norwich City midfielder have to get close.
Stephen Keller, the hero from Sunday.
He was, wasn't he? Didn't he do well? Stephen Keller, who scored the winning penalty at Wembley at the end of a long and highly entertaining and dramatic afternoon against Chelsea. Here's James Milner, who played his part in that final, coming off the bench. And plenty of time there for Tim Krul to collect the ball. He returned to the bench in the last match, having missed the previous 4 Premier League games with a shoulder injury. Fully fit now and back in the starting 11. Here's Gomez for Liverpool, looking for Henderson. Just getting his foot in there was Lucas Rupp for a moment.
And of course, when you make so many changes, there can be a lack of rhythm. This group of 11 plays for Liverpool to begin with has had the game time to gel.
Jones with the flick, Henderson going down, looking at Martin Atkinson for a free kick, which wasn't given. Tidied up by Gomez up against Timu Pukki. Here's Konate and Henderson finding Curtis Jones. He'll take the return. That's a tidy looking nutmeg to get away from Pierre-Lise Melou, initially at least. Free kick for Liverpool. Yeah, Curtis Jones left disappointed at the weekend, wasn't he? Not in the match day squad. He has been involved a fair bit recently. He started the last Premier League game against Leeds and has started all of the FA Cup ties now.
Yes, Jurgen Klopp has been quick to praise him, but also I think read between the lines sometimes, and maybe feels that Curtis Jones has still got a lot to do in terms of consistency. I think as much on the training ground as opposed to the match day performances. You know, with playing with such high quality players, you cannot afford to let your guard down and feel as if you've made it, especially when you're not a regular starter. So local lad or not, he's still got to prove to Klopp every single day that he's worthy of a place in the squad.
Tsimikas with the throw into the aforementioned Jones. Trapped there by Plaqueta. Lovely pass from Joe Gomez, beautifully weighted to James Milner. Whips it in, comfortable for Krul. Jota was in plenty of space inside the penalty area, level with the far post.
And he thrives on good service as well, Diogo Jota. Not a big guy at all, but just so many good headers. He's brave, his movement is good, but also he's not afraid of... all.
Here's Rashica, who scored the goal that beat Charlton at the Valley in the 3rd round for Norwich City. Lise Melou.
Despite the changes, Liverpool with their usual 4-3-3 formation, so these guys are used to exactly what's required of them. It's a lovely touch.
Certainly does have a lovely touch, Rashica. Scored here in the 3-1 defeat 11 days ago. Is Plaqueta, didn't really have anywhere to go. Rashica stretching for it. Liverpool looking to break with Jones. Minamino on the far side. Origi through the middle. Jota. Deflection there comes off Ben Gibson.
Yeah, sorry. So, I mean, it declined, didn't he, Diogo Jota? I thought he could have actually hit it first time. It would have been ambitious, but it wouldn't have put it beyond him. And also, when he had a chance, and he took it outside on his left foot. Just a strike across the face of Tim Krul. So he refused it twice.
First corner of the match. It's in front of the Kop. Over Origi's head, collected by Jones. This is Minamino. Curtis Jones. Oxlade-Chamberlain.
He does strike a good ball, usually. Just a little bit hurried then. No City closing him down. Sheetzer with the attempt. He wasn't actually that determined, but Chamberlain, he doesn't need too many attempts to find his range usually. We talk about Joe Gomez and Origi having to remind Jurgen Klopp of their qualities. The same could be said of Oxlade-Chamberlain as well.
Nicely judged by Milner, who's then sent on quite a chase to try and keep the ball in play.
He asked a lot of the old man, didn't he, Konate?
He won't be getting much thanks, will he, for that pass from James Milner. Good for Norwich as well that Zimmerman's back for them in central defence today. Big game for him. He hasn't played since August.
Defence.
Yeah, give him another option again, wouldn't it, for the matches that remain. Tsimikas now for Liverpool. Henderson. There's Ibrahima Konate. Came off the bench for half an hour at the weekend. He's looking for Jota, trying to get in behind Sam Byram. Jones. Looking for an opportunity and a chance to...
Look for a teammate at the far post, maybe try and pick out Minamino, but no thought about that. Lovely attempt, just skips the top of the crossbar. Didn't really shift it too much, did he? But got plenty of whip on the football.
Nearly sending it forward. This is Rashica trying to pick out Pukki.
On the football. Pretty well so far.
Nearly sending it forward. Big job to go and try and take on, wasn't it? I mean, very quickly after this is Rashica.
Yes, I always get a feeling that,
trying to pick
really
out
have
Pukki.
their ego bruised, don't they? They feel offended, insulted, if you like. That someone thinks that they're not doing a really good on the score. Sometimes they...
On the football. Nearly sending it forward. You've got a lot to go and try and take on, wasn't it? This is Rashica trying to pick out Pukki.
They feel offended, insulted, if you like. Someone thinks that they're not doing a really good on the score. Sometimes they...
On the football. Nearly sending it forward. You've got a lot to go and try and take on, wasn't it? This is Rashica trying to pick out Pukki.
They feel offended, insulted, if you like. Someone thinks that they're not doing a really good on the score. Sometimes they...
On the football. Nearly sending it forward. This is Rashica trying to pick out Pukki.
Offended, insulted, if you like. Someone thinks that they're not doing a really good on the score.
On the football. Nearly sending it forward.
familiar with the geography and this part of the country.
Gomez to the far side, whipped in by Milner. Will do so again, and Jota going for it, but he was watched there by Christoph Zimmermann, who took a bit of a whack there. Let's hope that he's okay. He's only just back in the team after a lengthy injury.
Yeah, Jota was a meat in the sandwich between Gibson and Zimmermann.
It comes from Milner once more. Elise Malou unable to get his foot on the ball to clear it. This is Minamino. Curtis Jones in round the back.
That was good. Sharp movement from Curtis Jones. He had to make that run around Minamino with real urgency, and he did. Slightly overplayed, perhaps, the pass. Allowing him to really wrap his foot around it quickly enough. Actually wasn't. No, it was nice and tight. But then with it maybe just a little bit ahead of him.
Sent in by Tsimikas. Collected here by Oxlade-Chamberlain. Liverpool pressure building. That was Origi. Rising drive off the boot of Jordan Henderson.
He wanted his set just that little bit lower. Bouncing down into the ground, not easy.
Martin Atkinson, the 2011 final between Manchester City and Stoke City. Here's Proketa, the Polish international. What a lovely bit of play from him. Timo Pukki with a chance to shoot here. Oh, just dragging it wide of the post. Norwich City threatening for the first time this evening.
Yes, he knows Dean Smith. That chances like that will be few and far between. Proketa did awfully well, didn't he? Gets past Tsimikas. Milner with a last-ditch tackle. Stop Rashica coming in from the far side. Just enough pressure in the end to force Pukki just to snatch that shot.
Norwich City give them some encouragement.
When he really escaped Pukki from defenders. He's such a cool finisher one-on-one. Especially that inside, outside to in at the left side of the channel, if you like. Heading in towards opposing penalty areas. Finishes well from the other side, but particularly, I think, coming on, open his body out, right foot. Be adept at that.
This is Sam Byram charging down the near side. Alisson swiftly off his line. Rupp. Way off by Rashica. And support over on the far side by Dimitris Giannoulis. Decent ball in as well. Rupp in the box. Oh, it doesn't quite fall for Pukki. Been a bright couple of minutes for Norwich. Yeah. It's a rather spectacular fall. A second tumble by Jota, but Norwich City's players complaining about the first challenge.
It was robust from Jota, wasn't it? That could have been given against him. And Norman played the ball onto him. And I think Martin Atkinson got that one right. And Byram just couldn't resist. Jota's such a clever player. When he sees opponents coming, he just slips the ball through their legs.
So Sam Byram, the first player to have his name taken. When talking about Christoph Zimmermann earlier in the match, coming back from a long-term injury, he was out for an awfully long time, wasn't he? Sam Byram, 21 months on the sidelines, returned in December. He had a hamstring injury that required a couple of surgeries, and All manner of treatments, finally making it back.
Indeed.
Simicas trying to get past Byram.
Good moments for Norwich, but also a reminder to Liverpool, which is probably good for them as well, that they've got to be on their game tonight to win this game. As I said, the crowd is pretty subdued so far. Sometimes a couple of scares from the opposition can just bring everybody to life. Lots of crowd get involved in this famous thing.
Here's Jones. Now Simicas. Up against Byram. And away from it. It's beyond Origi as far as Oxlade-Chamberlain. Milner's delivery. Simicas hits it first time. And Liverpool, via the body of Byram, will have their fourth corner of the match.
And that shot was heading towards Tim Krul's goal, right in the corner. Good block in the end from Byram. I don't think he would have beaten the goalkeeper, but Minamino would have made it difficult if he'd made that run towards the Norwich City goalkeeper.
It's with Minamino. Lismalu making the block. Takumi Minamino there, getting another opportunity for Liverpool tonight to add to the 7 goals he's managed so far this season. Scored in the 3-1 win over Cardiff in the last round. Well, there's one of the busiest men inside Anfield, Ben Gibson, in alongside Christoph Zimmermann in the heart of the Norwich City defence. In towards Konate. There's a mighty leap as well from the Liverpool defender. Back out with Jones. Milner. Henderson.
Leading with the arm and the shoulder.
Milot Rashica on the end of that.
I think it was important that they actually played Konate tonight. If you decided James Milner was going to be right back to have a pacey defender, could have actually put Gomez, could have switched from either side, to be honest.
Interesting to see what he. No intention of retiring at the moment.
Yeah, he's made it absolutely clear that he feels he's really found his footballing home, and he's been at some big clubs, hasn't he, James Milner? He's been around as Leeds, Newcastle, Aston Villa, Manchester City, of course. But in the last couple of years, as a player, professional player, he wants to go out on top. So you can't see him leaving the football club too easily. Of course, he'll have a less and less of a role. But an important player, obviously, around the training ground.
Yeah, I think coaching is on his horizon, isn't it, at some point? He's been doing some work towards that. And this looks a little bit worrying, potentially, for Norwich City. They could ill afford to lose a player of the quality of Milot Rashica.
I wonder if he landed awkwardly as well. There doesn't seem to be anything that would indicate that he was seriously injured with the contact that Milner made.
Conversation there between Dean Smith and his backroom staff about the possible changes they might need to make. Third time in the last 15 seasons Norwich have reached the 5th round of the FA Cup. certainly got their hands full with a trip to Anfield. Tim Krul, though, with the kick. Kante's header away. As Giannoulis challenging for it. Minamino blocked off initially, and Norwich City will have a free kick. Here comes Zimmerman up from the back. Midway through the first half. Pukki chasing. Quarter of the way through the match, Pukki actually has had the best opportunity so far. Shot which he dragged beyond the far post. Ball sent forward by Giannoulis initially. Pukki lets it run. He'll take his place in the middle. Block made by James Milner, and the flag goes up. Free kick.
It was a tight one. Liverpool once again employing that high line. Taking chances, asking the opposition if you've got something clever over the top of us, and by all means, but we trust ourselves to be speedy enough, especially in the central areas, to recover.
I think he will have known they were coming, Jurgen Klopp, but I'm not so sure he particularly enjoyed questions about the quadruple coming just hours after lifting the Carabao Cup. It's a season that's delivered a trophy already, and which potentially could still offer plenty more.
We'd just be thinking about the next game, and I know it's a tie-door mantra as well, isn't it? And, the writers have to ask these questions.
A lot of football to be played now between this point and the end of the season. But it's certainly a much more interesting title race between the top two than we thought it was going to be a few weeks back.
Yeah, we thought it was all over, didn't we? I think even the most one-eyed Liverpool or Chelsea fans have entertained any idea. Chelsea, of course, are quite a bit further back. You have to win the games, and Liverpool are a game in hand, but they've got to win that, and then Manchester City slip up again. Of course, this is a trophy that everybody would like to win as well. There's probably not too much attention priority given to it by Jurgen Klopp over his tenure. I think a little bit more satisfied and confident in himself to be, and just having the squad as well to be able to, rotate, chop and change and still be effective.
Rupp sent it into Lismelu, who was trying to find Rashica. It's back with Alisson playing in the FA Cup for the first time this season. Wasn't even in the matchday squad for the last two rounds. Given a rest by his manager.
Surprised at the moment Liverpool don't have that spark from the flanks. The big boys are sitting this one out. A couple on the bench. Marcelo not involved at all tonight.
Yes, Sadio Mane among the substitutes for Liverpool this evening. Henderson. Now Minamino. This is Joe Gomez. A little bit high for Kostas Tsimikas. Has managed to keep the ball in play. Jones under a little bit of pressure. No problem. Konate and Milner now with it.
Well, we covered a game last night, didn't we? Crystal Palace against Stoke, which was somewhat muted as well, and the stadium is renowned for great atmosphere. It took about 30 minutes before the match got going. Set up for minute 30 tonight as well. We're approaching that. Get to spark into life.
Good to see it dried out after last night. It was a miserable one, wasn't it, in South London? Liverpool venturing forward now with Curtis Jones into Tsimikas. Origi with a little layoff. Minamino 1-0. Sharp, clinical play inside the Norwich City penalty area. Origi with the setup and Minamino the finish.
Yes, and it had to be Simon, and also patient and unselfish as well to finish it off and move it pretty well from right to left. Tsimikas looks as if he's got no real option to actually picked out a lovely ball. Jota as well to draw two Norwich City players, and Origi would have been well within his rights to try and turn and fire that towards Tim Krul's goal. Nice little setup, and Minamino's touch was spot on, wasn't it? Set himself and given him a chance to decide exactly what to do with it. Yeah, that's a good play from Divock Origi.
Yeah, it was a beautifully worked goal, wasn't it?
You know, if he tries a fancy back heel a la Roberto Firmino, turns to swivel as Mohamed Salah probably would have done. Been a few annoyed plays if it doesn't end up in the back of the net.
Minamino on target tonight, just as he was in the fourth round against Cardiff.
And the goal is for him is huge, isn't it? Bigger than one of the other leading light scoring. And just that little bit more to convince.
Sent it wide here to Tsimikas once more. Yeah, big night for him. He scored 4 goals, didn't he, in the Carabao Cup campaign? Played in every match apart from the final.
Yeah, that's a shame, isn't it? But he's got the feeling that Jurgen Klopp would bring out the big guns for the final. And only the goalkeeper he trusted to start in place of Alisson. He certainly played his part all the way through. Minamino. A big goal tonight.
A little bit long on this occasion from Joe Gomez.
Yeah, a little shake of the head, frustration. As I said, when the ball got stuck underneath the feet of Tsimikas, he thought, well, Norwich City now in a good position to actually defend it. Certainly enough bodies there. A little bit of luck that it lands at the feet of Origi. Disappointed at Gibson and Zimmerman then don't get close enough to deny the Belgian the opportunity to find Minamino.
Ball sent forward by Ben Gibson. Here's Lys Melu, the French midfielder they got from Nice last summer. Gibson forward, Pukki conceding possession. Curtis Jones happy to leave it to his captain. Jones and Henderson moving the ball around well, and Tsimikas available on the near side if required. Konate.
Don't think it's going to change the way that Norwich City play at all. Having a 5 in the middle of the park. He's not been particularly isolated. They've got to him quite quickly actually in terms of support. Certainly not looking to press the ball in these areas. Turns Liverpool try something outstanding again to break us down. For the moment we'll stick to our game plan. That'll be to try and counter-attack on you. Such a long way to go in a football match. They don't need to go pressing to try and equalise.
There's a lovely composed flow about the way Liverpool are moving the ball around. Minamino into Jones. Liverpool, you sense maybe just starting to go through the gears a little bit here now, getting warmed up into this match. Henderson could be ominous for Norwich. Jones. Now Tsimikas. They're really stringing the passes together in this move. Now with Gomez. Minamino wants it over on the far side, further forward than Milner, and now gets the ball. Here's Oxlade-Chamberlain. Blocked by Lys Melu for another Liverpool corner. With just over half an hour played.
You could have probably done with a little bit more width as well, Minamino, to be honest, and then you give the likes of Origi and Jota, if he comes in field, a bit more space to manoeuvre and try and isolate one or two Norwich City defenders one-on-one. They're not natural wide players, this front three for Liverpool tonight. They're low to actually stick out on the touchline.
More pressure. Giannoulis with the header away. The little nod down by Milot Rashica into Teemu Pukki. Milner's got it back for Liverpool. Taken by Jota. Byram holds him at bay for the time being.
lots of touches, hasn't he, Curtis Jones? Involved in, most that's been good about Liverpool's play so far.
Yeah, played like he's really enjoying himself out there, Curtis Jones, up to now. It's with Gomez, Henderson. Collected now by Jones. Liverpool, 72% of the play. Most importantly, from their point of view, they've made some of it count with that Minamino goal. Yellow card from Martin Atkinson, second one of the evening. Jota joining the Norwich defender Sam Byram in Martin Atkinson's notebook. Here's Byram. He's got Prochetto on the near side. Dimitris Giannoulis losing his way. Lise Melu. Well, for a moment there it was nicely worked by Norwich, but he just ran out of space. Norwich looking to reach the last eight for the second time in the last 3 years. They got to the quarter-finals in 2020, beaten 2-1 by Manchester United after extra time. Plenty to do if they're to go through tonight at Anfield. Takumi Minamino with the goal in the 27th minute. Kostas Tsimikas. There's Joe Gomez.
Not been tempted, are they, Norwich City, defensively to squeeze up that little bit, say to the midfielders. Five behind Timu Pukki. Just trying to win the ball close to the halfway line, so we can do some real damage, turn it over and towards Becker's goal, which is wise, I would suggest. No need taking yourself out of the game before half time with reckless adventure.
Norwich with just that one threatening moment so far in the game, the shooting chance for Timo Pukki fairly early on.
It was a tightish angle. Pukki, as I said, usually when he sees sight of the goal and the ball is on the floor like that, and he's not really been hounded, he usually finds a target. Snatched at it just that little bit. Few faces: Ian Rush, Phil Thompson, Kenny Dalglish. Few games and trophies between that trio.
Absolutely. Away by Tim Krul. Well, less than 10 minutes to go to half time. First half just meandering a little bit at the moment. Liverpool looking in complete control, even though it's just 1-0. Jota. Now Tsimikas. Looking to cause more mischief. And was headed straight for Divock Origi. Milner away to Minamino. It's got Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain over on the far side.
He's had a quiet evening so far.
It's very neat and tidy in a tight space there, wasn't he, Oxlade-Chamberlain, as ever. Minamino. Here's Tsimikas. He'll take the return from Origi. And Sam Byram again able to block. At the expense of a corner, not for the first time this evening.
Yeah, did well. He went to actually drive the ball, did Tsimikas towards the far post instead of putting his foot around. I think he would have beaten the first man.
Tsimikas with the delivery. Could be a chance for Minamino! His second goal of the night. And Liverpool starting to look good for the quarter-finals.
Lovely corner, wasn't it, from Kostas Tsimikas, right on the money. There's not a redhead on the football. A bit unlucky, Ben Gibson, his falls to Minamino. That first touch actually gets away from him, forced into sort of accelerated, getting it, just leans into the ball. Gibson with a head at Zimmerman, doesn't get close quickly enough. He does, and then he decides not to fully engage. Off the post. Krul's got no chance. And a terrific hit. Just slightly cuts across the ball, which actually takes it away from the Dutchman. And that's a huge goal just before half-time.
That's 3 goals in the FA Cup this season for him. 4 in the Carabao Cup. He's quite the player for the domestic cup competitions this season. It's starting to look like it's going to be another long night for Dean Smith and for Norwich City. So Minamino on a hat-trick now with just over 5 minutes to go to half-time. Paqueta didn't quite go out of play. Showtime from Henderson there. Ibrahima Konate away to James Milner, away from the traffic, plenty of space to move into on the far side, which is exactly what Milner's doing here, and Lys Malou slides in to bring the run to a halt finally. Bit of space for Rupp.
Teasing James Milner, he's going to slide into somebody in a minute and take a yellow card. A long run, dispossessed in the end.
Pukki losing out to Henderson. Paqueta beaten by Konate, and now Kostas Tsimikas for Liverpool. Reasonably well struck, but it would have to be something special to find the back of the net from there. Liverpool with 9 attempts on goal so far in the first half, 2 of them on target, and Norwich City just that one effort from Timo Pukki. It's a very quiet evening for Alisson in the Liverpool goal.
I think the non-regulars for Liverpool would have benefited from a more raucous atmosphere tonight. In truth, it was always going to be difficult for the players and indeed the fans to raise themselves. When you're not a regular first team, and it of course becomes more difficult to actually get up to kind of speed and show everybody exactly what you're capable of.
Alisson's clearance just a little too long for Jota. This is Byram.
Sometimes I've got too many players, you've got a point to prove, and get a little bit anxious with their players, especially early on in proceedings. That second goal will settle them down.
Gibson away to the far side, the foul on Giannoulis. 3 minutes to half time plus any added time. Rashica sending it forward now to Timo Pukki. Lucas Rupp and Przemysław Proketa waiting in the penalty area for a ball which never came.
Well, 2-0's not an insurmountable hurdle, is it, for Norwich to get over in the second half, but it has to remain at 2, you'd imagine, up until about 65, 70 minutes, and maybe you can take a few chances then. I mean, if you're going to go out, you might as well go down swinging and lose 3 or 4-0 as opposed to timidly sort of just waiting to be beaten 3 or 4. Show some courage. I don't expect Dean Smith to make any tactical changes at the half-time break. Just be asking for a little bit more discipline from his players and concentrating, and hopefully they don't get picked apart for a third goal.
Gomez away to Milner.
The second one was a set piece, but the first one almost feels like a set piece as well, because the play had slowed down. As Tsimikas was in a difficult situation, and Norwich got so many bodies behind the ball. And suddenly displeased Dean Smith and the coaching staff.
Yeah, creatively, Norwich are really struggling to get a foothold in the game at all, aren't they, at the moment?
They're playing from so deep, Simon, and Liverpool continue to press, don't they? The players seem to engage in that early on in the game, but once they got the first goal, then they've upped the ante in terms of retrieving the ball high up the field.
Giannoulis now for Norwich. In the last minute of the opening 45. Proketa.
Shouldn't be offside.
Flag upside once again on the near side.
That's poor play. You can see right across the line.
Curtis Jones now. This is Henderson. Milner. Liverpool enjoying complete control of proceedings here as Jordan Henderson wins a throw. Just about to go into added time at the end of the opening period. Oxlade-Chamberlain. We're just into a minimum of 2 added minutes. This is Gomez, and now Konate.
They probably like a little bit more work to do. Liverpool central defenders. Can't impress if you're not challenged.
It's the second poor ball out towards the near side from Alisson in this first half.
That can happen to a keeper when you're a little bit bored.
He's had absolutely nothing to do, has he, so far in the game?
As if he's got to do something special with his feet, and absolutely not the case.
Giannoulis for Norwich. Back in with Gibson, and now Zimmerman. Not close to finding a teammate with that one. Tsimikas collects. Liverpool in this first half have made it look pretty routine, but a little lapse in concentration there perhaps, as it opened the door for Norwich City to find a route back into the match. Well, it was left ajar, but Milot Rashica unable to find the bottom corner of the net.
Yeah, that's another sign that perhaps it's been a little bit too easy for Liverpool. Becker's got that one covered. Joe Gomez with that crossfield pass, which was nowhere near finding its target, James Milner. Seemed to stumble a little bit into the football, didn't he, Rashica? There was a good chance to test the goalkeeper. Well, disappointed and frustrated certainly will be the words I would use to describe Dean Smith's assessment of this first half. The Jurgen Klopp, I think, will be satisfied. I don't think he'd be overly concerned about the level of performance, knowing after what happened on Sunday. It's difficult to back that one up, but just satisfied that they're leading 2-0 and cruise control.
Proketa's clattered into the advertising hoardings there beyond the byline. That's a very uncomfortable end to the first half for the Polish international. Let's hope that he's okay. And Kostas Tsimikas has just gone across to check on his well-being as the players leave the field. There's the star of the show so far, Takumi Minamino, the Japanese international who scored both of the goals for Liverpool. The first of them the 27th minute and the second 6 minutes from half-time. Liverpool have made it look pretty routine so far at Anfield in this fifth round tie. And at the break, as we hope that Paqueta is fine, Liverpool lead Norwich City by 2-0.